In this video, we are going to cover the second part of surface area and volume of cones, which is going to deal mainly with the volume of a cone. So real quick, we're just going to review. We did this in the last lesson, but we're going to review parts of a cone. Okay, the first thing is reviewing the sector. Okay, the sector of a circle is just a part of the area of a circle, and it's formed by an arc, which is this part right here, and then two radii, which are these lines right here. So this whole sector is called sector ABC, and it's that whole green part right there. And the reason that it's important to know about sectors is because when you have the net of this cone, then it looks like that. The lateral surface area is the sector of a circle, and then we have the circle as a base. Okay, so parts of a cone, okay, it has one circular base, okay, it has a vertex, right, just like a pyramid. It has an axis, just like a cylinder. Remember, the axis goes from the vertex to the center of the base. So like in this cone, this is an oblique cone, it would be right here, okay, would be the axis. The lateral surface area is all of the space that the cone, it would be this, the sector. So everything that doesn't include the base. The slant height is the height that we go from the vertex to the edge of the base. And remember, we use the slant height when we found the surface area. That's when we use slant height. The altitude is the line that goes from the vertex and it's perpendicular to the base. So in a right cone, the altitude is the same thing as the axis. It's the same line. It goes straight down into the middle of the base. Now, in an oblique cone, though, the altitude is going to be slightly off center. It's not going to be where the center of the base is because the line has to stay perpendicular. Okay, so when we're finding the volume of a cone, then we are going to use the formula volume equals 1/3 big B times H, okay, where B stands for the area of the base and H stands for the height or the altitude, okay? So in volume, we are going to use the altitude and not the slant height, okay? So our base then is a circle, and then our height is this line right here, the altitude. Okay, so since we know, and we should recognize this formula, right? We used this formula when we found the volume of a pyramid, right? This was our formula that we used. So our big B, the area of the base for this one, the base is a circle. So instead of the big B, we'll just replace it with pi r squared because the area of a circle equals pi r squared, where r stands for the radius and then h stays the same, right? It's still the height or the altitude. So let's work some problems here. This says give the exact answer in terms of pi and give the approximate answer using 3.14 for pi. So we have volume equals 1/3 pi r squared times h. So now here we have pi, okay? Our r is going to be the radius. Now here we have 48, which is the diameter, so we're going to take half of that. So we have 24 squared times the height. So here we're looking at the altitude. So that in this cone would be 18 because 30 is the slant height, right? That's L. So now we're just going to solve this out. We're going to take 24 times 24, which is 576. And then we are going to multiply that times 18, which is 10,368. And then we're going to take 10,368 and times it by 1/3, or it's the same thing as dividing it by 3, which is going to give us 3,456 pi, because it wants the exact answer in terms of pi, meters cubed. Or we can also do the approximate and take it times 3.14, which is going to be 10,000 852 meters cubed. So those are your two answers, exact in terms of pi and then approximate. So again, we have 1/3 pi r squared h. So we have pi. Here it already gives us r, the radius, which is 9. And then the height, again, the height is the altitude. So we have to use 12 right here. Okay, you can't use 15. So now we're going to take 9 squared, which is 81. And we have 12. So now we're going to take 81 times 12, which is 972, and then divide it by 3, which is 324. So we have 324 pi centimeters cubed. And then for the approximate, we would take 324 times 3.14, which would be 1,017 centimeters cubed. Okay, on this last one, this is an oblique cone. So here our altitude is outside, right? Because it has to be perpendicular to the base. So we have 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay, if we look right here, 10 feet is going to be our diameter. So we're going to have to take that in half. So we have 1/3 pi times 5 squared times our height, which is also 5. Okay, two different ones, right, though? This is my height, okay? 8 is the slant height. That's L. We're not using that. So we have 1/3 pi. 5 times 5 is 25. And then times that by 5. So now we're going to take 25 times 5, which is 125, and then divide that by 3, which is 41.7 pi. Okay, so that's going to be our exact answer in terms of pi. And then we're going to take 41.7 and times it by 3.14. Which is approximately 130.9 feet cubed. And that should also be feet cubed. So that's your exact and your approximate. And that is how you find the volume of a cone.